zweitletzter Vortrag heute geht Forget IP Investments, the new economy is open source. Und weshalb das so ist, wird uns Wolfgang Szabó erklären.
So, first, congratulations, you are the hardcore team. So, thank you very much that you're still here. It's hot, and I hope you enjoyed your drink and your coffee. So, I have to explain something. First, I have 3 E's. The first E is English. I try to have to talk English. So, the second E is I want to explain the title. So, the title changed. I wanted to give the talk together with Peter Troxel, and he had a call from New Zealand because I will give you an idea what phablets are, and he's one of the very active guys in Europe who tries to establish phablets in Europe and around the world. So I think he sleeps now because of the time shift. He will give the talk in English this night, and the last night and the next night. So he can't be here, but I was thinking about to tell you the old title, the old talk, and I changed it because he's the guy for open source, and we want to become people for open spaces, and I want to give you a feeling about open spaces. We try to build them with others, and for me very important always is the third E, to understand where somebody's coming, and I want to give you a short look where we are coming, and I'm not talking about the people I'm working together. I want to talk where we are coming. So I changed the title to a phrase from David Bossart. It's a great book, I think, The Age of Less. And it's called The Times of Plenty Have Gone, The Good Times in English. And normally I like the English shortness of phrases, but what I like is in Germany they call Die fetten Jahre sind vorbei. And I like this. It's provocating and it's true. So I was born 1975, and this is except the generation between a time where all was settled down and strong, and you had to make your career, you had to learn, you had to find out who you are, and when you had a good exam and diploma, you get a job. This doesn't work anymore. So now time changes for me too, because I became, for myself, a father. My son is 6, and I think this changed a lot of my thinkings and thoughts. So I want to take you with me. So the is for change. It's more comfortable or not. So I will give you a talk. The first part is times of plenty, and the second will be the good times. So I hope you still remain here because it's becoming better and better. So times of plenty means I start with the most important part of it. It's chasing growth. I don't understand that. I don't understand that we are living on a place where it's important that we grow. You will see one animation. This it is. This means growing. And of course the question is how large such an arrow can be. How large something can grow. And I studied physics of the earth in Germany, and this is physics. I mean, everything what grows has an end. And so the most dramatic part here is the red one, perhaps a little bit provocative, but the interesting thing is the line. There's a line, there's a frontier. It will be a frontier there. And I think we are in the middle of this line. We are changing systems, and it's very, very, the most people I know, they sit there and they say, I'm frightened, and others say, I'm looking forward. What will come? And so this was a picture I took 1 week ago behind our village. And I took a morning walk around, and I will give you a metaphor, an example, which condenses this image I have of chasing growth. So this is a sunflower. A sunflower is called sunflower because it's looking to the sun. These are no sunflowers. These are earth flowers, depressed flowers. What happened? They were optimized. They were enlarged. They're becoming better and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now they're looking to earth and not to the sun. So this for me is a metaphoric image where we are heading on when we do not change our minds, when we do not change systems. And this is, for me, some years before I wouldn't have seen it, but now it's more emotionally, because the question I'm putting is, will I be this in 10 years, 20 years, completely out-burned and out of order because maximized efficiency? And this, the small flower, so I don't want to put too much metaphoric in it, but where are we heading? And so what we learned during our times is the big ones eat the small, because it's very hard to understand. I try to sketch, so the big and the small, and it's what I'm trying to talk now is it's about eating. So we learned that big eats small. That's the reason why we want to grow. The fast eats the slow. That's the reason why we want to hurry up. The agile eats the static. And so we always try to grow. And I changed the phrase, if you can't eat them, eat them. So what I learned is there are companies which are so big and they never can fail. And this is security. It means, wow, great, I'm working, I have a job. And that means that we can't fail there, but it happens. And the problem is they don't grow. Growing is for me a natural process, but they fuse. They beat, they bite, they take, and they have a look and becoming grower and grower. And so why do they do that? The transaction costs, of course, they get lower. The market has one competitor less. And the know-how is added by the number of people which are working in the company. So this makes sense when you look on an Excel spreadsheet, but it makes no sense because growing means you become big. You become slow and you become static. And when you eat too much, you become full. That's physics, that's medicine, that's our normal life. So why should it change? And something is changing too. The hungry eats the full. And that means yellow I choose because it's more the color for Asian dynamics. And we had a lot of talks today. And they all gave us the feeling that there are markets which are exploding and changing and everything is possible. But I think the normal time that the G8, the biggest companies or countries on earth, it's changing. So the Asian people and the Africans will, that's a big question, but they will come, and the small will eat the big, and the fast will eat the slow. And the agile, it's the same, but the hungry eats the full, and the stars is, I showed there on the graph, is of course a metaphoric for us, for Europe. So I changed the phrase from too big to fail will come, too big will fail, and the follow-up costs, and they are immense. We, every single person here, we will pay, and that's for sure. So the next point is I just make a cut and say handling resources. Resources are endless. This was a feeling I had not directly in mind, but I would say indirectly. I had the feeling everything is possible, and still today I've got this feeling. But every act we do costs something, and we have to see the context. So there's an amazing movie, it's called The Story of Stuff, and it shows you when you buy in a shop a very small radio for some bucks, there has to be somebody who has to pay for that you get this offer. And so, that's clear, resources are not endless. Energy, natural, and human resources are definitely limited. And so, we had people from, they said, they're working on the energy sector and natural. I was so surprised when I heard that Switzerland invests 80% in life science. That's not a spectrum, that's a monopole, that's not good for diversity. Yeah? So, and I'm becoming older too, so what I feel is that my own resources are limited. This is, I think, the most real feeling and recognition you can have. So we had growth, we had the resources. Now, for me, the most passion is education. I was working in a science center, I was working in university, and I was always looking for places which create knowledge. The German word is nice. A place, ein Ort, der Wissen schafft. Also, that means it creates knowledge, and that's just the reason why I'm here. We try to create places together with people which create knowledge and to understand how we can change things. It's not about talking, it's about acting. So, Sir Ken Robinson, he gave a great talk, and it was animated by RSA with a very talented painter or sketcher. And he gave a talk about changing education paradigms. And I took some snapshots, and you see, 21st of August, I saw over 8 million people who watched this since around about 2 years. This is not just a topic I'm interested in. I think it is a global topic we are talking about. So what they did, I like this. It's like mind mapping. They visualize his thoughts in a huge map. I picked some details out of it. It's a start. Sir Ken Robinson says changing paradigms. This was his talk. And every country on earth at the moment is reforming public education. 2 years ago, there are 2 reasons. The first is economic, of course, but that's not bad. It's a good motive for really changing things. But you can see the clouds. That means we are thinking how we can educate our children, not knowing where the world will be in half a year, or in 10 months, or in 2 weeks. So this is really a problem. So the second motive was cultural. So many different cultures. They are globalized. This is difficult, because the one thing globalization tries to mix them together to one, and the cultural identity, of course, is so important to be aware of, that it has to be cultivated. And so, of course, this is, you see here, Ritalin, it's more, at the moment, it's more a problem in the USA, we think. But we have to change the system, the education system, because computers, iPhones, all they are trying to attract the young people. And studies show that you are very talented when you come on Earth, when you're born. So they made tests, and they were 98% had the possibility and were categorized as genius. So I thought you become genius when you learn. But what they showed is you are born, you are genius born, and our education system is potential enough to decrease this genius level to an amount much less than 38%. So they have to refocus on boring stuff. And what this animation from Sir Ken Robinson showed me is the fact that I was living, and all we are living, in spaces where the children are educated in bachelor's courses. It's not dependent how qualified they are. It's equally, the reason is it's important how old they are. So he puts the question, why is this the way? And now we have to go back to Renaissance, but I want to put it in a nutshell. He says educational places look similar to fabrics, and it's the Industrial Revolution in the Renaissance where you separated the art from making. Yeah, from you said you fabricate and redo it and replan, redesign, but you separated it. So we have to join them. We have to join them together. And the last thing he was talking talking a lot about creativity processes. And he says divergent thinking is the possibility that you think about that a problem has many answers and different perspectives. And he says it's an essential capacity for creativity. So why I'm talking about that? That means we have to change something. And with the places I will show you, that's my hope. We could change that we have not schools. We could change it that we have places where we teach children and they teach us and we have a lot of fun. So he's the educator, and at the moment he's from April 2012, Google put him into the creativity issue from his Google paper magazine. It's very worth reading. The glorified intellectual property, I make it short, it's not confirmed that it has to be protected. And this was the part of Peter Troxler, and I really can give you this as a tip. It's his book together with a lot of other people. It's a collaboration work. It's about open design now, why design cannot remain exclusive. So this is one very important direction we are heading in. Patent disputes costs a lot of money and time, that's fact. Obsolete organizations, it's not important which hat you wear, it's important what you create during your wearing this hat. I tell this because we have, at the moment, we have a lot of hats on our head. So in our company or where we are, and this is, it's not important what's the name of this company. Important is what we create during this process. And the innovation misbelief, innovation has to be managed. I think it's that the consequences are that zero thinking happens in the huge companies. They have innovation heads and think centers, but they are not exchanging with us. They are in her silo, they think, and what they do, they put up the I cycles. And I said I cycles because it's for innovation cycles. We have so short innovation cycles. And the best example, that's the reason why I call it I cycles. With the iPhone, I mean, every half a year, or with the other devices, we change the device, and it's not possible to fix it. I mean, there are possibilities to fix it, but you have to look for it. So one motor is consume, 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 consume. Why? I think we are in an excess society. We stay, we look, we think. And a lot of, this is not just for my small brain, it is together with all the people I was talking in the last years, everybody's saying, this can't be the way we are heading forward. We have to change, because we do not understand this system. We heard about Bitcoin. We trust our financial system. Why? I like the idea that we have alternatives, and Bitcoin is an alternative. So I think we are living now in a rebooted economy, because a master plan does not exist. And what we said is, everybody knows the DIY movement, do it yourself. I want you to face it to do it definitely yourself. So it's turning, so we can change. And one of my colleagues and my boss sent me this image. I like Lego, I like the possibilities you have because they are unlimited and we are rebooting the system. So now to the good times. Consumer becomes co-producer. The pioneers, the makers and dropouts, the changers, the lateral and free thinkers, they find in their niches, their small parts. And crowdfunding is so essential for that because they have the feeling, I don't have to go to a bank. I can present my idea, we had a lot of talks today, to somebody and I will give money for a good idea. And they have so much in common. To make this world a better place, yes. To share knowledge, to be of greatest utility. This is for me very, and for us in the team, very, very important to construct something, not to consume. To create something with your own hands, to work in groups, and this is important too, of like-minded and different-minded people. So a good team is diverse, because working alone sucks. I want to take you on a short expedition with VIOS, where I'm working. VIOS means V for virtual, because we have no office, we have no company cars, we have no service systems, which we have to prepare. I know what that means because I was, for some years, I would say 4 years, 5 years, I was a system IT manager in our company. I like working with computers, but not for computers, and we have no payload. It's easier. I for institute. We don't want to be established, but institute remains for education, because how I mentioned, education is key, is general key. You can open every door which is closed, and this feeling, not just my son, our children have to have. When they learn, they can do something, they can change the world. So the O stays for open, because openness is essential for exchange, curiosity, honesty, eye-level communication. S for systems, because systems for me are like rooms, give possibilities in which everything generates knowledge. That's the reason why we call it VIOS. By how I mentioned it, at the end it doesn't depend how we call it. It's important what we do there. And this I want to show you here. And when you think our claims VIOS, it's all about sourcing. So a source is defined places, people, and things from which things come from. The places we try to establish are fablets. Peter Troxler, how I mentioned, is one of the guys in the team. We are 10 people, and we try to open or to create a fablet in Zurich. The fablet Luzern is a great place, and was an honor to join there and to meet these people. We cooperate with them. I've been in Neuchâtel, and they are quite young, and they had a great combination to Swiss Creativity Center. We are connected to German fablets, to Netherlands fablets, and to the fablet found in Gerschenfeld. We could have a talk to. And fablets are, for all the people who do not know, are fabrication laboratories. The idea is to give the people a place for digital fabrication. This is how it looks like. The logo, this is Roman Jurt, Dream It, Make It, Share It, one of the lab managers. It's an open space where you have digital fabrication possibilities. And they give workshops, they listen to the people and say, what do you want to produce? We can do it together. They learn processes and they put questions before they get the answers. This is so essential because our education system works completely vice versa. The Fab Lab Neuchâtel is a similar approach. They have 3D printers, and you see here it's in the Swiss Creative Center. So they try to join and to find out synergies. And this is the Fab Lab Zurich at the moment. So the expedition is right. It's just an actual state. So this is our team. We had a lot of plans, a lot of talks. We have a small homepage where we try to connect and say, do you want a Fab Lab in Zurich? Because when you don't want it, we haven't got to build it up. And last week we signed that we can start in a small place in Zurich. It's so expensive there to have a place. We have 79 square meters, and we have to do a lot of with our hands. So this is the image with both tools here. I've spoken about the Netherlands and Germany Fab Lab network. Fab Lab Barcelona is, I mean, every place is such a wonderful place because they are producing things with their own hands and with a team. I was talking about digital places. It's great to say that we have an analog place where we try to offer an atelier, and this project is called Atelier in Sandkasten. It was planned to put it to St. Gallen, to station it there, because St. Gallen loses a lot of talented people which are going to Zurich because they think Zurich is creativity and St. Gallen is outside, and that's not true. So we have a place, and the idea is more analog. You can make woodworking, melding, textile, and all this stuff. So we have to go back. And this is the place where we are going, and that's the same. The last week we signed the contract. Down is a textile company, and in the upper floor we have 500 square meters. It's so gorgeous, where we can put the machines and the different analog production possibilities. Sourcing means places and people. So the seed breeders, we call them seed breeders because seeds are ideas and breeders are people. Because places is good, but you have to connect the people. Just a place is a dead place. You need the people. So we give them a name. We communicate with Basecamp. We tested a lot of communication platforms, and this is such a great approach. So when you're interested in, I can give you the result of the research about 60 other platforms, and they made it a great job. What we do is we have projects, we have the team, we have discussions, we have to-do lists, we have files we upload, text files. It's very reduced. I like the style because it's a paper style. We have calendars we share, we have the timeline where we see what happened, and we have the page for yourself where you see what your jobs are, what you have got to do. And the last thing, it's about things. We offer machines, media, workshops. And when I talk about we, it's not just deals, it's the connection of all the different people from Manchester to Cyprus and Bremen, Hamburg, where we get connected on this communication platform. Because we have one project, the electrician, he's living in Manchester, and we connected to him, and he's programming and soldering stuff, what we need here. So, of course, these are two parts. The lower part is the analog from the Atelier Sandkasten, and the upper part is the digital tools we all in this group can offer for somebody who is looking for it. Media, of course. Material, the last point I think is very important, material collection. You have to get in touch with the material when you produce something. It's not about just talking about wood, you have to see the wood. And it's about workshops. So the values I will give here, these are our values which enable us to try to go this step. And how I said, it's an expedition. An expedition is not a project, because a project has a start and an end. And so we are on an exhibition, and perhaps in half a year we do not more exist, or in half a year we can say we have a good network, a sustainable network of people who want to change something. That's it. Thank you very much. Questions? Okay.
Well, I can make the question from there. So, is this purely a social initiative, or is this has this an economic component to it?
Of course, we have to.
If they use your infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a very good question, because this balance between we have to be economic and to be social. Sometimes I think I have to jump, because both this doesn't work sometimes. But our aim is that it works. So we separate. We have some projects just for money. That means we give workshops for bigger companies where we explain how we do things. And on the other side, we are, of course, investing time and money, private investing, in these projects. So it's, when you ask for business model, I would say the business model is hope and experience, and a good mix of it. But perhaps it's naive, but on the other side, I think naive is connected to playing, and playing means that creativity produces new stuff. So, it's
So you are investing in
yes.
people that are doing projects in your.
For example, my time, I've got a contract, and my my job is as a project manager, 15 projects at a time, where I try to find this balance and to say, I go there, I help there with my hands, and we build up 2 spaces now in the next weeks. And it's in the seed breeder Basecamp part, we are around about 50 people at the moment. And a lot of them say, I like this idea, I want to spend my time for it. So this is the change. They want to spend their time, and they're not asking for money first, they are asking, how can I do something useful?
Vielen Dank.